Hello, welcome everybody. My name is Jack Miller. I'm the CTO of CORE21 Canada, and we are here for our second of 3 webinars that we are running on the launch of CORE21. So if you are looking for the webinar on your new website and what you need to do with it, you have showed up in the right place at the right time, magically. So welcome, we're glad to have you here. I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to go through a little bit of presentation, and then we're going to dive right into the product and show you how to use it. So with that, I see we've got people coming in. We've got 164 people so far. So I'm sure we'll have a few more come in as people show up to the session. So here we go. Let me share my screen. How is my audio? Do I have anybody in the audience who can let me know how the audio is if we're coming across okay? Audio's good?
Yes.
Okay, great. Fantastic. So as we do with all of our webinars, if you have questions and you want to make sure they get answered or addressed in some way, please put them into the Zoom toolbar. There's a Q&A button on the toolbar, and that is your most assured way that we will get an answer, because if you put it in the Q&A toolbar, it shows up as an item that we have to do. So, so if it's a question that's important to get answered, put it in there. We are monitoring the chat, so if you do have things you need to share with us, live in the call, the chat is there. I think all the chat goes only to the moderators and CORE21 head office. So if you put something in the chat, that's who's going to see it. The Q&A only goes to us as well. So that's how that works. We do anticipate there'll be lots of questions on this webinar, because this is about websites, and websites you can do lots and lots and lots and lots of things with. So there probably will be many questions. We're fine with that. We're building a pretty robust frequently asked questions document that we will share with everybody in the system so that you can get the answers to your questions. So that's what we have going today. So let me go over into our presentation. So today it's going to be, I will be presenting the majority of it. I will lean on Josh over in our franchise services group for some additional questions or for some help on this presentation. He has been working with a number of people on the CORE21 implementation and has become the kind of expert at head office on the product. And so Josh, welcome, glad to have you here, my friend. And but I'll be leading most of the demonstrations and taking you through what you need to know. So we're going to do a little bit of, for some of you that attended yesterday, some of this you've heard before. We just want to make sure everybody knows what's coming, communication, time frame, all that kind of stuff. Some of you were not on the webinar yesterday, so this will catch you up to the launch of CORE21, so you know what's happening. So yesterday we had our welcome webinar going over the basics of CORE21, navigating through the system, finding everything that you need to find. We kind of went through all the pieces of the system and then looked at some things that we recommend you do as part of getting into CORE21. So if you haven't watched that webinar, we recommend catching the replay so you can get all the details on that. That's a good overview of the entire system. Today we're going to focus on the section of the system called content, which is your website. Either your individual website and also your team website if you have one. And so we'll be talking about that. And then tomorrow we'll be doing this again one more time to go over in depth on the CRM, lead management, CRM marketing, action plans, all the kinds of things that we know that people use in CRM tools. We're going to cover tomorrow in depth. So we've got lots of content coming for you tomorrow as well. It'll be another webinar. Note it is at a slightly different time. It's a little bit later in the day than today's webinar. So just be sure to note that on your calendars. Everything is recorded, will be available on demand. To catch everybody up on the time frame for launch, right now we are in Get Ready. That's what we're doing currently. So for the next couple of weeks, you're going to be moving into the new system. You have access to it. You can go set up things. You can do whatever you need to do for yourself to get ready. And we'll be discussing some of that with regards to website today. We'll be talking about contacts, leads, all those things tomorrow. Then late October is when we're going to go live. Our tentative go live date is the 24th of October. We're giving ourselves some flexibility in case we need a few extra days or if there are things that need to be tweaked into place for the go live exercise. So when we do go live, we will move, everything will show up at c21.ca. That is the short domain that we will be moving everything to. All of the current public domains will be redirected there. So century21.ca, our test domain that we're on right now, century21canada.ca, will be moved and directed towards the short domain for the live site. So that's how that's going to work. And then at that point, CORE21 will be your main tool to power everything. After lunch, we're going to continue with training to help you make the best use of the tools that you've just been provided. This is a very comprehensive tool set. You've got a lot to work with here, and we want to make sure you get additional training for how to get the most out of it. There will be some advanced website training, which is related to today's topic. So for those of you that really want to dig in, there will be more for you to do. And I also know we have some very creative and capable people within the Century21 Canada system that are probably going to go out and they're going to create some really cool stuff. And maybe we have an opportunity to show that off as part of that ongoing education, just to see some examples of best practices and things that people have done. So with that, welcome to CORE21 and welcome to our webinar on content. As a reminder, to sign into CORE21, use the single sign-on that is in Gmail. If you're logged into your Century21 Canada account, there's the waffle right here. Scroll down, and then you'll find the CORE21 logo. That's the best way to get to CORE21 right now. And the easiest way to get to the login screen. Once you hit the login screen, click login with Google, and you're good to go. So that's how that will work. You can also get to the new Marketing Center from the Google Waffle as well. I know that was covered in last week's webinars. So just a reminder, if you do have questions when you're in the system, there is the Century21 Assistant. A number of the things we're going to cover today are already in the Century21 Assistant with helpful walkthroughs or tips on how to do it. So pay attention to the Century21 Assistant. It's got some good material there. You can type in the search box and find how to do things. If you're just not sure where to go, where to start, that's a great way to do it because it'll take you right to where you need to go based on you saying, hey, I want to edit my photo or I want to set up my homepage. If you search for that, it shows up in the assistant, takes you right there into the application so you can get it done. So that's just a reminder. For those of you that weren't on yesterday, how to get help, there's some support channels. There's a set of frequently asked questions that are being published on the resources site, so resources.c21.ca. You can find those there. The Century21 Assistant, I just mentioned, it's a good way to get help, good way to check and see what's going on. Your local concierge, so your concierge in your office has had the opportunity to be part of some additional training, and we are trying to also support them directly. So if your concierge needs more support, we have a dedicated support channel for them so that they can get any additional help that they need. But they have access to the power tools in terms of support channels for that. There are many communication channels and help channels available. The Resource Center, obviously, Campus 21, we're posting training on how to do everything. The email will be a communication channel for us, so look for emails from news and tech at century21.ca. And of course, Facebook groups. We have the Facebook group for sales reps where we do have people posting questions. And then there's a dedicated Century21 Real Estate Webmasters Facebook group, which is for news about real estate webmasters, the autonomous platform, and kind of anything related to the core web technology. So that's that. As a reminder, we do have a collection of tools that you have access to now. All of these are available to you, and all of these many of them have their own support channels for you to make use of if you have questions. So the new Marketing Center that we lit up last week, or at the 1C21 conference that we trained on last week, they have their own dedicated help. So if you need help Marketing Center related, we've got that. Real Satisfied has an email help contact. Packaging Media has several avenues for getting help if you're using their social media marketing tools. Zillow has a contact email. BombBomb has a contact email and support number. So that is how to get help with any of the related technology tools and partners. Okay, so let's jump into content. So this is a very exciting product. I told the team at head office this morning as I was preparing for this webinar just how much I was enjoying. I got logged into the demo website and I started setting things up, and it's really fun. Like we have a really powerful platform here, and I can tell that there's just a lot you can do with it, and it's easy to use. There's a lot of different pieces that you can work with. in it to make your site unique. It's got some very cool customization for marketing. So it's got some great stuff. I'm going to take you through a guided tour of some of the highlights of things that we would want you to be able to do and know how to do. So we'll go through those together. This falls in the category of, I think if you watch this, you should be able to go do it yourself if you want. Like I said, all these training videos are available on replay, so if you need to go back and watch it again, you can. And we're not going to try to cover every single knob, switch, and gadget that is built into these websites, because we'd be here all day. I mean, you seriously could do a full day if you're going to go through every single thing. There's a lot here. And that might be something we want to do. Maybe we'll do some kind of website building workshop or something in the future for those of you that really want to go through everything, or maybe come up with, have some assistance or help doing that. But today we're going to focus on what I think are the high notes of customizing and working with your website that for the vast majority of you will get you to where you need to go. So that's what our goal for today. So let's tell you where your website is right now during our pre-launch period. It is first-last.century21canada.ca. That is not your permanent address. That's a temporary address. We're there while we're in pre-launch as we're fine-tuning and testing and doing things with things. When we launch later in October, it will be first-last.c21.ca. Look how nice and short that is. Isn't it wonderful? It's just great. It's going to fit anywhere. You could easily write that on a napkin or the back of a business card, whatever you need to do with that. It's very easy and referenceable. So don't go buy a bunch of marketing stuff with this long URL. This is the one you're going to use. Okay. So, and I'll talk a little bit about the transition and how we're going to map over your current website address to the new website address. All that's going to happen pretty automatically, so you're not going to have to worry about it. But I want you to know the details in case you run into questions or you have trouble. Do not use century21canada.ca in your marketing materials. Don't go order stuff with that on it. That is not the permanent home that we are going to move to when we launch. So we're launching at the end of the month. Permanent home will be c21.ca. So don't use this longer address. We just use that for pre-launch and testing purposes. So there you go. All right. So here's what we're going to cover in depth. I've got a few things that we're going to take you through today, and we'll go through them and kind of methodically go through the things that I think you need to look at. If you're fast, you may be able to follow along on your own website. If you've got enough real estate on your screen, you might be able to open up and watch this in one window and then kind of work on your own website in the other. Totally fine with that. However, we'll tell you we can't directly support you editing your website on this webinar. We'd love to do that, but there are, I don't know how many hundreds are on. Yeah, we've got almost 300 people on this thing. So we just can't. So if you run into trouble, then you're going to have to figure your way back out. So don't, but at the same time, I think it's friendly enough. I'm not worried about you running into trouble. I'm saying we can't handle questions and individual, like, hey, can you help me edit my website on this webinar? It's just, with 300 people on here, we're just not set up for that. We'd have to have man-to-man coverage to do that. So, but feel free to follow along if you like. It's a good way to learn to actually be in your own system and look. And then just remember to come back to me from time to time so we don't get too far off track, because I know the website's got a lot of stuff in there. You can easily go down a rabbit hole pretty easily. So first of all, I'm going to hop out of the presentation so that I can go do the first step. So first step is check you have access to your website. Let's make sure you can get logged in. So again, if you are in your Century 21 Google account, just mine is the Century 21 up here. Under the waffle, you're going to go down here and you click on CORE21. That's going to take you to this. You're going to pick that. I'm not going to do that right now because I'm already logged in, but you pick your Century 21 account, and that will take you into the back end. So when you first
Jack, just to pause you, hey, it's Chloe. We have a request if we can bump up your the size of the things on your screen. Could we do a little like Control+ to make things a little bigger?
How's that?
Yeah, it may make things a little wackier as you go along, but I think for the folks watching, thanks, Derek, for the suggestion.
Yeah, good suggestion. So this is it. I can go bigger than this. Does this look okay?
Will, Derek, if you don't mind popping in the chat if that looks good to you.
Yeah, it's pretty big on my screen, but I don't have a huge get a big screen. So it's very large.
We've got the all good from Derek, so keep on trucking.
Great. All right, well, we'll keep going. Okay, so when you first log in, this is where you'll show up. It'll land you by default on the dashboard. And where you want to go in the navigation is you want to go over to content. That is where the website lives, is in the content section. So under content, all of the pages on your website by default show up on the pages section, and these are all the individual pages on your website. So this is every page that you have, so you can easily access it and go edit it. To get to your website, this is the easiest way to get to your website. Is you go to your home page. And from the home page, there's a link right here. So it says website. So this is the easiest way to get to your website from within the system. Just go to your home page editor, and then you go here and you click on that, and that gets you to your home page. Okay. So this is a home page. We did a little bit of configuration with it yesterday. If you were on the call yesterday, we uploaded a photo. We did a few things, but that is how to get to your website. And then we're gonna go through and talk about all the controls and all the things you can edit and things like that. So that's step one. The first thing you're going to want to do is you're probably going to check to make sure that your data that's showing up on the website, primarily your contact data, is correct. Now, we went over this in yesterday's webinar. We covered the preferences tab and all the things that you can do there. If you are looking at your website and the contact information is not right, then the preferences tab is the place to go to fix it. So preferences is under the navigation. There's a link here that says preferences. So just go there. This is where your contact information lives, your SMS phone number, your photo, if you want to upgrade your photo, all of your contact information, phone number, everything, that's all here. So you've got a set of things that you can update from your preferences that impact the website. They show up in a few other places too. They show up in the agent search, and they show up on your company office websites where you work. So it kind of all flows together. But if you see information that's not right in the contact box on the website, that is the place to go check, is to go do preferences. So that's number one. So go check the preferences. The second thing I'm going to show you is website settings. So your website has some kind of big knobs that you can turn to change the way that things look or to change the way that it works overall. So I'm going to take you to the website settings and show you all of that. So we're going to jump into that for a second. So if you go here, under here settings, under settings, there is all your settings for website show up on this page here. So these are, again, kind of big changes that you can make to how your website operates overall for every page on the website. So we'll go back into the page editor. We're going to edit your home page. We're going to do a bunch of other stuff. But this is where you can make big changes. There's two overall themes. We have a dark theme and a light theme. Kind of like, I don't know if anybody downloaded the new iPhone OS. If you did, they also have the same thing. They have a dark theme and a light theme. Very similar. That was not on purpose. It's just great minds think alike. So we have a dark theme and a light theme. You can flip them. So if I grab the dark theme here and click save, it will very quickly, if I reload, you can see what the dark theme does. So down here, it's all on a dark background, kind of changes to dark. Still keeps the hero image, keeps all that, but just changes out the overall accent color of the website. So here I'll flip it back to light theme, and there it's your light. So it's mainly the principle, the background color, and it works throughout the entire site. So that's how to change the theme. Right now, there's only one navigation available, so don't worry about this. Just leave that alone. Let's talk about leads. All right, so how you want your website to work with visitors is very important because it influences the customer experience. So you can change whether or not people are required to register on your website in order to view properties. So there's several options. You can say, nope, people don't have to register. They can just browse and go through the site. They can say, yeah, you want to say yes. As soon as they start looking at property, I want to have them register right away. You can say yes, but then they can X out of it. They can say, the box pops up. They say, no, I don't want to, I want to just keep browsing. So you can do it that way. And then you can also say, after they've looked at, say if they've looked at 10 properties, force a registration, right? Make sure they get registered. So you have some pretty cool registration controls. I will show you what the registration looks like. Let me grab this. So if I take this, let me save this to say yes always. Oh, and I'll set a few other things too so you can see some of the other settings. So here, require registered password. This should be defaulted to yes in your system. If it's not, this just makes them set a password, which is a good idea. We recommend it be set to yes so that they set a password. There's a few other controls. You can say require registration to view all listing photos. This is a kind of a nuance. You could say they can view, you could say, no, they don't have to register, but you could require them to register to view all the photos. So you have some, again, some tweaks there to play with. You can require them to give you a phone number. So you can say, I want a phone number. And you can require email verification if you want to verify their email address before they can continue to look at listings on their site. So you know you've got a good email address. All of these controls really depend on how you want your website to work. If you make it very easy for people to browse on your website and look at stuff without ever registering, you will get people that will browse on the website and you will get less leads, right? If you turn up the registration and force them to register, you will get more people that will fill out. Well, you'll get more leads, but you might get more Donald Duck or Mickey Mouse leads, people that fill out, give you fake information because they're annoyed you made them register too soon. So this is a bit of a dance, and it may also depend a little bit on your market, on how much you want to have people register. So, but all these controls are available for you for that. I'm gonna hit save here real quickly, and then let me show you what the registration looks like so you can see it. Pull up the incognito window, we'll go here. And as soon as I hit find and start looking at stuff, let's go look at some things. Okay, as soon as I start looking at properties, it will pop this registration window, and this is where the information is captured. If you said, make sure they have give me a phone number, then there will be a phone number field here. If you said force registration but allow them to close out of it, there'll be a little X box at the top so they can click on the X and they don't have to register, they can keep going. So, or if you said let them look at a few photos and then pop this up, then that will come up then. So pretty powerful feature. We don't have this in the Where to Live platform, so this is something that Real Estate Webmasters brought into the table as this kind of flexible registration scenario. So I wanted you to see that. That's how it works. All good there. So let's hop back into other website settings. You can, if you have a Facebook page, an Instagram, all that kind of stuff, you can configure this. We have some social media widgets that will make use of those links. Some of those are being worked on right now. We're making some improvements to some of how the social media works, but I would just say for now, just drop in. If you have those social media pages, drop them in. And then as we work within the system, you'll start to see them showing up as options and widgets and in the footer and things like that. So drop them in, and then we'll be able to make use of them in the website design as we are building more for the website design. There are some additional website settings that control whether or not your listings show up on the, like you have a call out for that. So you can say, you know, I don't want to show on my listings link or button, or I do, and you can also control the solds. Some of you are in areas where you're not, most of you are in areas where maybe you're not allowed to display solds, so you may just want to set that to no. If you set that to no, it will then not give the option to look at solds. So that's how that works. If you make use of a custom domain, so if you've redirected, you went out and registered a domain name and you've pointed it at your Century 21 Canada website, that's where you put it in here. Right now, this doesn't do anything. So don't expect it to magically all of a sudden do things, but put it in here because when we're done with the migration, we're going to circle back around and then we can do some more things with the custom domain that will be helpful and useful to you. But if you have a custom domain, just drop it in there. That's great. And we'll talk about redirecting your domains and what's going to happen at launch later in the webinar. I'll go through that process with you. But for now, just put it in here and that's fine. And then your language settings, you can decide if you want to offer French and Chinese as other languages on your site. You may not. English is the default. So that's how that works. So those are the website settings, all under settings. I'm not going to go in depth on it. I talked about it a little bit yesterday. We do have a section for tracking codes on your website. So for those of you that are a little bit more hands-on with your websites, we do have options here to use your own Google Analytics account if you want to use your own analytics account for tracking your website. If you want to verify your account with Google using Google Webmaster Tools, there's a spot for that. Same for Bing, same for HitTail. There's also a box for your Facebook pixel. So if you want to register you get a Facebook pixel from your Facebook business page, and typically people use that in conjunction with advertising on Facebook. So if you're doing Facebook advertising and you want to send the traffic to your website, you can embed a Facebook pixel in the website, and then Facebook will tell you, hey, this person that clicked on your ad, they went to your website, and then you know that the ad got a person from Facebook to your Century21 website. So I'm not going to demonstrate that today and how to use that today. It's more of an advanced topic, and we want to set up for that. So we'll cover some of that advanced training after launch. But if you are already an advanced user, you can make use of these tracking features. So you can go in and make use of them. We do have the ability to insert header and footer tracking code. So if you use something that's not one of these tools, you can make use of third-party tools. Now, what I will tell you is we have not extensively tested, like you may have a tool that for some reason doesn't work with the Century21 Canada website. So I'm not saying it will work with any tool you plug in here when we haven't tested anything other than the tools that we said we wanted Real Estate Webmasters to make sure worked, like Google Analytics and Google Webmaster Tools and things like that. So if you may have a tool that works and you can plug in your tracking code and you're off and running, but we haven't tested them all yet. So if you have a problem, let us know. But we can't guarantee it works with just anything you pull off of the internet. So, but we have opened that up. That's a pretty powerful new feature that we did not have on our former platform that we have on the new platform, which is the ability to use a variety of third-party tracking tools for those of you guys that are really into that and girls that are really into that. So, so there you have it. So that's these are settings that impact the overall website, the entire website, and change the look and feel and how leads work and how things show up, all of that kind of thing. That's where you go to do those. So great. So let's hop back over into the content section, because now we're going to get into kind of some fundamentals of editing pages. I'm going to check my agenda here and make sure. So here's where we've gotten to. So we've done, we did your preferences. We just looked at website settings. Great. So now we're going to look at changing your homepage hero image, which is the big image that shows up at the top. We did pick a ton of images for the system to use that you can use on your website. We randomly, when we generated everybody's websites in the system, we randomly picked an image for you. So most of your websites don't necessarily look like other people in your office. If you got lucky and maybe there's two people in the office that have the same website background image, you know, you guys are besties now. You have to now send each other referrals and handle each other's leads. So no, I'm joking on that. So, but we had 25 different images that we chose at random. So you got a random one, but you may want to put in something different for your background image. So I'm going to show you that right now so you can see how to do that. And then we're going to show you some other really cool things you can do. So to change the background, so you go to your home page, and we're going to do some editing, things like that. But this one is so high impact. This is the big image that you have that's floating behind your contact information, all that. So this is high impact. You may want it to reflect your specific market or your style. Now we've picked a lot of images that we think are very current with the Century21 brand look. So the ones you have are, we think, really good examples of what you should be using for that. So to change that image, I'm going to skip over all this stuff at the top. We're going to scroll down to the bottom. So down here at the bottom, this is where you can pick from a number of page templates. And we're going to spend a little bit of time down here because the page template changes the entire configuration of the page. So there's a reason it's at the bottom. It's at the bottom because you're probably going to set it once, and then you're mostly going to focus on the content, which is in the middle of the page. But if you want to change the overall look and feel of the page, these are some of the different options that you have with the Century21 Canada web system. So the one we're on right now is called the agent homepage. This one has the agent contact information box and a photo and that kind of thing. And it's very similar to the existing Century 21 Canada websites that we've had for the last 5 or 6 years. So it's modeled after that, but we have some other options that I'm going to show you. So on this agent homepage, if you want to change the image, you just scroll down here and there's, hey, look at this. There's a little image piece here. So you can, if I want to change this, I can delete this one and say I'm going to take that out. And then we've provided you a content library. If you go here, it'll show you here's what you can put in. So it says here's your guidance on your photos. So if you have your own photos, you can do that. But if you want to use the content library, that is in the resource center. And actually, I just noticed this. Susie, I know you're on the call. I'd love a link over to the resource library section that has all the images right on this, because then people can just go grab one of the images that we've licensed to use from the resource library. So that'd be a nice little quick change we can make to that tooltip. So, but this, anyway, it's handy to have the dimensions right there. So if you are going to go get your own photos and images, you can know what dimensions you need to get. In the resource center, there is a whole section where we have a couple of videos that you can use, and I'm going to show you how to use those today. And you can also use the website image library. So there's a whole set of images we've published into our Google account for you to use. These are all pre-licensed for us to use nationally. So you can grab any of these images and say, you know what, I'm going to pick this one of these people that are inside. And I'm going to download this one because I want to change my background to use this one. So you just download it, and now you've got it. And then you go back and say, I'm going to just upload it. And there we go. And now it's uploading. And then once it's uploaded, pretty simple. You hit save. Now you've got a new background image. I'll refresh over here, and you can see how that changed out. It still thinks I'm a lead. Let's see. Oh, don't make me do that. Oh, I've trapped myself as a lead. I'm now a bad person. I have to do something different. All right, I'm gonna try going.
Hit escape. Hit escape.
Hit escape. I might have set it so where you can hit escape. Yeah, set it where you have to verify. So anyway, that's fun. It's never a live demo without something weird going on, but you're in good hands. It'll be fine. So I'll just show you the way it looks on the site now. So there I swapped out the background image. You can see the beautiful new background image that we have there. So that's pretty cool. That's great. And then if we go back to our editor here, I also want to show you some of the other things you can do with the editor with regards to the page template. So the other page that I think everybody's going to really love is the cover page. This one's pretty simple. Agent homepage, image in the background, your photo, your contact information, very compact. Most of you probably are going to be happy with that. For some of you that want to do some more creative stuff, we have some other great options for you to use. So here, if I switch to the landing page, I'm going to switch to the landing page, I'm going to hit save. And you have to hit save. When you hit save, now I've got a bunch more options. So here, I have options for different backgrounds I can use. And so just for reference, I'm gonna upload that same background image again so you can see the difference in the two designs. So I'm gonna hit save. And then I'm just gonna close out that window, and I'll use my other one to show you the difference. So this is the old one. So this is the new one. So the new one takes off the agent contact box, just gives you more of the image, and then it puts the search centered here. You also notice, if you noticed earlier, I turned off solds. I said I don't have solds. Now it just says my listings. If you had sold, and there would be my solds would also show there. So just so you know, that was one of the settings that I changed. So here, nice big search box, my listings, background image, and then everything else that was still on the page is still there. So, so now with this page template, you have some other things you can do. So you can still do photos. Photos are great. You can do a slideshow. You can do YouTube video. You can do panoramic photo. You can do a 360 photo. So you have a lot of other options of things that you can do now with this. And then this, again, on the last version or last template, you couldn't do panoramic or 360 photos, but on this one you can. So you can do some really cool stuff. I'm going to show you the videos because I think videos are super cool. So you select YouTube video. it says YouTube video ID. There's a little help here. Again, this is the Century 21 Assistant helping you out right here, where it just shows you, you want to pull from YouTube, you want to go get this little code that is either after the equal sign, if you're looking at any YouTube video, or also this is like the YouTube video code is what you're going to look for. We have a couple of YouTube videos that you can use that we've put in the resource center. So I'm just going to use the examples here. So this one, this is the YouTube video code right here. I'm going to copy this whole thing over so you can see it. So I'm going to put that in there. So you don't want the YouTube URL. You just want this code at the end. I'm just going to trim that off. So that's the YouTube code. I wish I had an easy explanation for why you had to do it this way. The longer explanation I'm not going to bore you with, and I'll just cut to the chase and say, just use the code. Don't try to put in the full URL to anything on YouTube. Just grab that video ID, drop it in there. It's good. There's a bunch of settings in here that you can change. Most of them you probably aren't going to change. There's one I like to set, which is, it says allow visitors to pause or play the video. I turn that one off. I just want it to play. I don't want there to be a play pause. I just want it to play. So I turn that one off. You can say the video doesn't play or only auto plays on desktop, or you can control how that does. You can control that if they scroll on the page that it pauses the video, or if it's not in view, it pauses the video. When they come back, it restarts again. So you've got more controls than you probably need, which is nice. You might decide to use them. So here I'm going to save this, and then you can see what the site looks like with the video turned on. So I'll refresh on the page, and here we go. So there you have it. So you've got, and you can use, if you've created some of your own videos, you can upload them to YouTube, and then you can make use of them on your website. So this is an opportunity to really stand out in your marketing and do something really unique and different. We also have given you a couple of videos to start with if you want to try this feature with pre-built video for you. So I anticipate many of you are going to do something really awesome with video on your websites, because it is a very, very cool feature. I'm going to show you a few other things with these templates that it's important to know. So the media is the first thing you configure. Once you go below the media, then you can control what do you want to show. So here it's showing an IDX search that's on the foreground on top of whatever the photo or video or media is. You can say, well, how much do you want to have, a basic search or an advanced search? So the advanced search just has a few more fields accessible from the home page. So you can switch that up. You can control how text is aligned, and let's talk about the text. So here, this is where you have an opportunity to add some personalization and branding to your site right on the home page, however you want to do. So I'm going to put in some search here. Okay. So you type all that in, and if I go back over here and refresh. So anyway, so now you have the ability to add some marketing messaging and some of your own personal brand in here with whatever copy or content you want to use. You can move the text around. This is laid out. I think this is optimal to have the text kind of right on top of the search box, because that's where people's eyes are drawn, as they're drawn to that search box. And this is probably the best place for it. But you do have controls where if you wanted to, you can move the text around. So you could say, well, I want it to align it differently. I want to do vertical alignment at the top. I'll show you that just so you can see it. I don't think that's the best way to do it. Let's do see there, it's aligned at the top. I think it's better right in the middle. We've kind of set a lot of things in the system. We've set the defaults where we think they should be, and that is something that we will be tweaking going forward as we find defaults that work better. But for the most part, most things are probably the way they should be in the system. So that's how it's done. So I would probably, if this is my website, I would keep the vertical alignment, I would say, in the middle, and keep it right there in the middle of that video background, so that it just looks looks laid out properly. So we think that's the right layout. So, so this is probably one of the higher impact things you can do with your website, is to use this particular page template for your homepage and work with the media content that you have, either some really great photos or slideshow, things like that. I encourage you to play with some of the other media types in here. I've shown you photos and video. Slideshow works very similarly. You just upload several different photos and it does a fade between the photo images. So that's one I encourage you to go play here. It's a good place to go play with your new site. Very high impact, and you can do a lot of strong stuff. So now let's go back to actually working with the content on the page. So I'm going to talk about just kind of, many of you have customized content on your homepage on the old CORE21 website. So you've gone in and you've made some changes and added some content specific to your business. Maybe you put a little, about your community or something like that on the homepage. That's all available to you through the content block. So the content block, again, I mean, if you've used any web tools or, any kind of basic web editing stuff, this should look familiar. You have formats, you can change the fonts, there's different things here. But before we jump into those, I want to talk to you about the weird things you're seeing right below you, which is like, what are these? It looks like code or looks like something scary. So what these are short codes in the system, the Real Estate Webmaster System. They call them snippets. And what snippets are they are pre-built pieces of content that we can drop on pages on the site just by putting this little code there. And let me show you what this is. So this says agent home default body copy. Okay, so we have some default copy that everybody has on their websites right now that is coming from that snippet. So that is this. So my mission is to deliver the gold standard Canadian real estate and all of this. This is the default copy. The nice thing is, if you ever get rid of, like you just want to replace what's there and put it back to the default, all you have to do is put that widget back. And I'll show you that real quickly. So here, if I delete this, so I'm just going to take this out. Boom, it's gone. Save it. And if I refresh, that content's gone. But if I want it back, then all I have to do is I just put that shortcode back in. It's that snippet, and it comes right back. I save it, and it shows up there. And there's a few things like that on the site where you'll find oh, here I'm going to close out that window so I'm not tempted to do that anymore. So here, it just comes right back. So that's how you work with that, that shortcode in any of the shortcodes. This one right here, this is a home valuation shortcode that you can put on any page in the site where you want to drop a home valuation. So if I go here, it says get your free home valuation, and it takes you to the property valuation page. It's going to ask the person browsing to share their location through the browser, or they can enter a location, and then it will show them, and if they enter information here, it'll show them a range of value based on the information they put in here, and then there is option to request an assessment from an agent, from you. So pretty cool to have that right on your homepage, and also as a widget that you can, or a little snippet, you can drop that on any page in the site using this little widget right here that says home, agent home CMA, right? So you can put that anywhere you want. You build a dedicated page just with that on it if you want it. And then the Contact Me button, this is another example. On the site, you also have a Contact Me button that you can drop anywhere. It's right there. So you can put a Contact Me button. If you could write a bunch of text and you can say, well, I want a Contact Me button that goes to contact page. You drop it right there, and now you've got a Contact Me button. So it's like a shortcut to create something that looks visually pretty and fits with the design of the site. So you don't have to be HTML wizards. You can just drop that Contact Me button wherever you want to put it. So we've given you a few snippets like that. I'll show you where the snippet library is. We'll go into that. But I wanted you to see and understand what these things are. Is that they're not. It's not complicated. But if you're new to it, it might be new to you. So most of you, what you're probably going to do is from your old site, you're going to say, you know what? I'm going to get rid of that default copy because I don't like it. And I'm going to put in, some of my own copy. So I'll put in this, and that's going to be my heading, and then I'll put in this is where you put your copy from your old website or your new copy or whatever you like. Okay. And then I'm going to save that, and then I'll show you what it looks like. So here, so there's the copy, right? So that's how it shows up. So for most of you, if you do want to move content from your old website to your new website, that's probably what you're going to do. You're just going to erase the default, you're going to drop it in, and then you're going to style it. The reason we didn't do that automatically is that some of the things that you put on the old website might not translate over and look correct on the new website, and there's 10,000 websites. So, you know, we also think it's a good time. We do things like this, really good time to look at what you put on your homepage and make sure that it is what you want. In the editor, you have all of the things that you would expect in an editor. So you have control over the layout of the text. So you can say, well, I want it right aligned, I want it centered, you know, however you want to do it. You can do bullets, you can do numbers, you can do, this could be a link. You can insert a link here and link out to something if you want. You can put what's called an anchor, which if you're familiar with HTML, allows you to create a place on the page where then you can create a link to that place on the page. I'm not going to teach you anchors if you don't know what they are. Most of you don't need to know what they are. You can embed media. So here, if you want to insert an image, you can upload. There's an uploader here where you can upload files into a file section, and then you can pick that media, that photo or image, and then save it. You can add an image description. You can resize it if you want. You can insert a video if you want. So you can either paste in the embed code if you're familiar with how embed codes work for video, or you can use the media browser to grab something out of the media browser. I would probably, for most of you, if you're doing video stuff, I'd probably just grab the video embed code from either YouTube or Vimeo or wherever you host your video. Those are the two places I'd recommend, and then embed your video that way. When you embed your video, you control the embed code. You have more control over how it looks. So that's why. So that's what I'd recommend, is just use the embed codes for your video. So that's media. And then if you are an HTML person and you want to really get into the code, click on Show Source and fill your boots. If you've got some HTML experience or you like going and working in the HTML better, you can do that directly. I know that's not for everybody, but for those of you that want a little bit more control, you've got that control. So you can go in and edit the HTML directly. So that is controls and editing for content, and all the content blocks work the same. They all work like this. You can add a content block on every page, and they're pretty straightforward to work with. Let's talk about a few of the other fields on here. So every page has a title. Right here it says Century 21 Canada Real Estate. You're probably going to put your own, your personal real estate business. So I could put it here and say, Jack Miller Real Estate, if I wanted, right? This description over here, there's a little helpful thing here that says, this description is read by search engines and displays in the search results. So if a person is searching, this is what will show up as a, you see that it has the title and it says a little bit of text underneath the title. Whenever you do a Google search, that is what goes in this box. So this website is a demo website for Canada. Great. And you can also drop in what's called a preview image. All right. This is an image that will be shared with social. If you share the link to this page on social media will use the preview image in order to put an image preview on the post. So if you post into Facebook or into some other social media channels, it'll grab whatever preview image you put in here to do that. So this is probably important if you're posting your website link into social media. You probably want to pick a preview image. I would say for most of you, it's probably just set it the same as your hero image, as your whatever you pick for your background image for the site is probably fine. That'll come across, so that way it'll show the same as when people see the preview and then they come to the site, it'll be the same big background image is the way to do that. So that is how to set those. Every page on the site has the ability to set a description and a preview and a title. So here I'm going to call this C21 demo listing website. Right. And there you go. So that's how those fields work, and that's what they're for. And every page has them. So that's the little fundamentals there. So let's see how we're doing on our checklist. So we definitely did. So we've done all these things. We've changed the homepage hero image, and I showed you a bunch of other cool stuff that you could do. We practiced editing the homepage, so that's really great. Let's go over the other page that most people configure is the About page. So I'm going to go over there for a minute and just look at your About page on your website and show you, so you can see something else besides the homepage, just so you're familiar with it. So, and one of the fun tricks I'll do, I'll grab this. We'll play with. Let's play with the Agent Home CMA. Let's play with that. I'm going to play with that little snippet because I want you to see the power of these snippets. So I go to a page. Here I go. Okay, I'm going to go to the About page. Okay, and what I want you to notice about the About page, you know, here it's got some. Here it says, hey, I'm already using some snippets, so it's using some default snippets on the page. So that's pretty handy. You've already got some stuff there. There's already a Contact Me button, right? And let's go look. We'll go look at the page in a second. And then you can also, you'll notice it uses the content page template. So you can use a different page template for your About page if you want. You could pick a different, cover page and pick a different big hero image or put a video or do stuff like that. So you can make your About page, you know, just as cool as your home page if you want. We have all these different page templates available for you to play with. It's using what's called a basic content page. This is probably the right page to use for most of your website pages where you're just going to put in content, is this content page, right? So let's go have a look at it first so you can see where we're starting in the About. So go over to About. It's right here. So you see it says the Century 21 difference, and then here's some kind of default content about Century 21, and then there's a Contact Me button. Now, what I'm going to tell you is we're in the process of importing your agent bio from your old website. So there is on this page, you'll see it says agent bio module. You see that snippet right there? As soon as that agent bio is imported from the old website, then this module will light up active and your old bio is going to show up on the new site. So if you had a bio you liked on Online Office with current websites, then it's going to show up here automatically once we get finished cleaning those bios up and getting them imported. And so those are going to come in. Could be any day now. The whole team's working on that. There's some kind of dirty data in there that we had to go do some cleanup on. So, but it's coming in. But you could also do anything that you wanted to do here. If you wanted to add some information about my team, or whatever, you can put whatever you like, format it however you like. This is additional copy. This is just like the home page. It's the exact same thing. So you could also do something, let's say we did something like that and say, let me help you value your home. And then earlier I said, hey, we're going to play with the snippet. So I'm going to drop the Agent Home CMA snippet on this page. And then I'm going to hit save. I'm going to show you what that does. So what I've just done is I grabbed a snippet from the home page and I dropped it here. Now it says, let me help value your home. And there's that big, nice snippet from the home page. So pretty cool capability with this new platform to publish really nicely designed graphical widgets and snippets for you guys to use that you can then drop onto any page that you want. So very powerful. It's something we're going to be making use of over the next few years as we build more and more stuff for you guys, is to provide you with new content, new snippets, new marketing things that you can drop onto your page in really cool ways. And if you have a great idea or you do something really great, we say, hey, why don't we turn that into a snippet that everybody in the whole company can use? So pretty cool stuff. I'm just kind of riffing now. It's fun. It's great. It's great. We have a very powerful platform here. Let me talk to you a little bit about pages other than the home page, because there are a few things that are different that you will notice, and you'll probably go, huh, what is this? What is this? So if you notice over here on the right, so all of them have a title, like we talked about. Over on the right, it says file name and alias. Huh, what is this? So this name will display in the URL. So we recommend make this the same as the page title. So it's about. Link name. So make this the same as the page title. Again, this is something where if you were an SEO heavy person, you could do some things here, and we'll get into this in some of the advanced training if you wanted to do a little work on your SEO. But for most of you, we recommend keeping it simple and just setting both of these the same as your page title. And actually for SEO, that works for a lot of you too. So, but we do give you, it has maybe more control than you need. This says this is a subpage of, and I would just leave it main page for now. You don't need to do anything from this. Hide from sitemap, you would only use this if you didn't want the site and didn't want this page to get indexed by Google. If you don't want people to find it through search, you can put hide from sitemap. Probably don't do that. This is the description that shows up in Google search results. So put your description here. And then this is your preview image if you want to control the preview image in social media, just like we showed you on the homepage. So there's a few new controls. Most of this is related to SEO. We debated whether to even show these to you guys, but we decided there's enough people that might want to do SEO work or have very fine-grained control over the exact URL and exactly how the link shows up that you might want to. So we left it in there. We put little bubbles over there to recommend what you do with those pages. All right, so that's the About page. It's probably the page most of you are going to want to go maybe make some changes to, potentially. Once we pull the bio over, you might not care. You might be fine with it. So now I'm going to do, real quickly, I'm going to show you if you did, now you've got a fair number of pages on the site already. You've got a lot of stuff here you can go edit and work with. It's built in. It's everything you see in the navigation. So everything up here in the navigation, you have the ability to go and edit. So if you wanted to go edit the buyer's page, this is the buyer's page. By the way, all this content is coming from pre-built snippets. So you can take the snippet out. You can write your own content on this page if you want. And if you don't like it, you can put the snippet back because it's all pre-built for you to use. So that's how that works. Let's talk about adding a whole new page because that's a whole exercise. So if I want to add a new page, there is a way to do that in this system, to add a page and actually add and update your navigation. So here, you can do, I just did the plus sign over here. This add new over here also does the same thing to add a page. So now I'm adding a page. You'll notice a few things are popping up. Right here it says need help. So here's a little video that is actually an overview of adding the page. So if you're adding a page for the first time, there's a video overview. Again, that's the Century 21 assistant down here, helping you out and kind of providing you and saying, hey, if this is your first time to add a page, let's talk about that. So here I'm going to say neighborhoods. I'm going to do that. I'm going to set it at the main page level. Here I'm going to do exactly what it recommended and just leave these the same. I'm going to keep it in the sitemap and say this is a page about neighborhoods. And then I could upload a preview image, but I'm not going to do that right now. And here I'll say 1, neighborhood 2. I'm totally butchering how you spell neighborhood there. Okay, there we go. So you put those in. So this is how you would, you could add a page. You could drop in a photo of the neighborhood. You could drop in a video of the neighborhood, whatever you want. So content goes here. All right, great. So I've created a basic, and it by default starts as a content page, basic content page. Okay, so now I have a page called neighborhoods. So some of you at this point would run to your website and go, where's my page? Where's my page? Where's my page? So it's not here. I don't see it. Where'd it go? It's not here. And you would be correct. It's not there yet. Because when you add a page, if it's a brand new page, you then have to go add it to the navigation. So you need to go make a change to the navigation. So here's where you're going to go, all right, I've added a page. Let's control where it shows up in the navigation. So here's your default navigation. And then here is where you see all of the navigation. So again, you use the plus sign. You say, I'm going to add a new thing in the navigation. And I'm going to call it neighborhoods. And I'm going to select the neighborhood page I just built. And you can ignore some of these other things here. So here, this one is child link. It says, I do actually want to nest this under another page. So I'm going to put this under my Find a Home page. Right, so I'm going to do that there. So now that I did that, it's a child link. And now I said Find a Home, and it's under Find a Home. Now it doesn't have to be. You could make it at the top level. So I could say I want it in the current browser window when people go there. And I'm going to pick the neighborhood page again. Hey, I'm seeing a lot of pages that are not what I'm expecting. That's interesting. Why am I seeing other pages? Hey, it wouldn't be a demo without discovering a bug in the new system. I just did this. So I'm going to reload the page and try it again. Okay, so it's currently, wow, I have access to all pages. That's awesome. I don't know why I'm seeing all these pages here. So Josh, if you could log a bug, let them know that for some reason we could see all pages in the adding a page navigation piece here, and I'm not sure why. On it. Yeah, thank you, sir. I want to make sure I'm still demo agent. Yeah. All right, we should ring a bell. We found a bug. That's awesome. So let me try starting from the beginning. So we have neighborhoods. I want to see if it actually added it when I did it before and just see if it's showing up. Yeah, it did. Okay. So it worked when I added it and said it's a child, but for some reason when I turned it off, when I said it's not a child, then it got weird on us. So for now, my advice would be just add it as a child page and put it under one of the existing menu items, and then we're going to look in to find out why when we say it's not a child page, it's acting a little weird on us. So new system, things happen. We'll get that figured out. So, but that's how you would do it. Is the fundamental workflow I just showed you is not going to change except for the bug. You're going to add a page. You can add it to the top level nav once we get that bug sorted out, or you can add it as a sub-navigation item of one of the other existing navs is how that works. And that's how you add items to the navigation. So there you go. Let's see how we're doing. So we did, we edited the home page, the about page. Oh, featured property and my listing widget. Very important. Let's say you want to include some listing content on your home page. So let's go here. So I'm going to show you, there's a couple of cool tools for listings that we're going to work with in pages. So I'm going to go home page, and then down here, once you get past, this is the basic content block, that's the main content block at the top. You have this tool called widgets, and you can add widgets into the site. So there's a bunch of widgets that you can add. I'm not going to try to teach them all to you guys. Some of them we're doing some fine tuning on, we're changing, we're working with, but there's a couple that I feel like are important for you to know about that you should probably work with. And they are your property listings and your featured properties. So I'm going to do your property listings first. Okay, so I'll just say my listings. And what this is going to do, I'm going to hit save. Let's make sure that's saved. Yeah, there we go. So my listings, there we go. Good to go. And then I'm going to go back to the home page and I'll show you what this does. So if, some caveats, we're still linking up everybody's listings from their MLS to the right user and all that kind of stuff. We have had to do a whole MLS exercise to get this thing going. If your MLS has been linked up properly to your office and to you, then if you do this, then your listings that are coming through on the MLS feed that we're getting should show up here. So this is how it works. So we set it to show 6. You can set it, if you said, I just want to show 3, you can set it to show less if you want. So here you go. Now it's just showing 3. You can set it to show more. If you say, you know what, I want to show a bunch, you can say 12. Should be in increments of 3 because you get 3 on a row. And let's go have a look at the 12. All right. So that is listings and how to get them on the home page. And by the way, you can put that on any page on the site. If you want to have a page just to show your listings or just to do, you know, you want to have listings that are relevant, you can do that. So there's also the featured property widget. And for that, I'm going to show you there's a configuration you have to do for the featured property widget. It's under tools. You go to featured properties. And here, this is where you can do kind of a cool thing. I can say, let's say you don't have any, you don't have any listings. You could say, well, I want to show my active properties in my office that are active on my website, just so I've got some activity going on there. Or I want to just automatically show just all properties coming through my MLS and just have them in a little box. You can do that. This, you can say, this is the one I'm going to demo to you that I think is the most important to demo, is this is how, if you wanted to, say you've got a number of listings, but then you want to be sure and feature a few of them at the top. Maybe you've got one that's really struggling and you want to show the home seller you're doing something for them. Say, look, I'm going to put you at the top of the list. You just give me a price reduction. Let's get this thing sold, right? So this is a way to do that. So where you can say, look, I'm going to select, I'm going to pick 3 properties and feature them at the top. So I'm going to pick, these 3. I'm just picking at random. I don't know these properties. So I'm going to hit save. Right. So I've just saved it. And now, if I go to my home page and I say, I want to add a featured property widget. Okay, so this is featured properties. And so here's my listings, but I want the featured properties to show up first. This is also something you can do. You can drag around those sections. These little buttons here indicate you can drag it around. So I just moved it. I said featured properties first. I'm going to call this section featured properties. Right, and then I'm going to click save. All right, now if I go to my website and I refresh, then now I've got the 3 featured properties I picked up at the top. So you can place some focus or emphasis on specific properties you want to show off. And then you can have your listings widget below. Or you could just do featured properties. It's up to you. So you have total control over how that works. You can decide what works best based on your clients and your listing inventory. So that's another very powerful system. Feature of the system is this ability to kind of work with property listings this way. If you go into the system today and you're not seeing your listings, do not panic. Like I said, we're in the process of mapping them. Once they get mapped and once they show up, this is the kind of how it works and what it looks like on the website. So don't panic. You can still set it up. You can put in featured properties and it won't show this section until the properties are there. So once they show up, then this section will get lit up and it'll start showing. So, okay. So we looked at featured property in my listings widget. Oh, we added a new page to the navigation. We found a bug in trying to add it to the main navigation, which Josh has opened a bug request. Oh, add a lead capture form. So there is another widget, which I will show you, that you can use. First of all, you can always throw the contact me button, that little snippet, on any page on the site you want. I'll take you over into snippets in a second. I realize you might want to see that. But you also there is a contact form widget that you can throw on any page you want. So page contact form. So here, this is a simple contact form, and then this allows you to distinguish it from other contact forms. So if you wanted to build a special landing page and drop a contact form on it, you could. And then when you get the email notification, you can tell where it came from. And it'll also show up in the leads dashboard. So down here, I just added a little contact form. And again, I put just contact me, contact me. You can put whatever copy you want, and then you've got that. So you can drop this contact box on pages. So if you wanted to build a special landing page, to register for an event or to inquire about maybe you have a new construction property that you're working with and you build a custom page for that, you put a nice contact box down at the bottom, you can do that. So it's a pretty powerful widget to play with that gives you a lot of control over how you build pages on your site to be used for lead capture. So there are, again, we blocked off 90 minutes for this webinar to give you guys an introduction to the content, but it's sort of how long is a piece of string? I mean, we could be here all day building websites if we wanted to be, because there's so many things you can do. And we've tried to give you what we think is a strong default for your website and how it's set up. So you got a strong default, but of course we know many of you want to go in and make it your own, and that's great. And so I think we've covered enough today where you should be able to do that. Before we move on to some open conversation, I do want to show you in here. This is where all the widgets are. So there's a whole set of widgets. So if you want to, or snippets, if you want to go look at what snippets are available to you, if you go under snippets, they're all here. And you can see, social links, phone number, site navigation, their form CMA. So there's a lot of these. I am not going to try to teach you all these. It's just like everything else. We've given you a strong default. This is really for some of your more advanced users that want to get into the snippets. I will also tell you, we have not extensively tested every single snippet that Real Estate Webmasters has in their library. We've just used the ones that was necessary to build the sites that you have. So if you use one and it's not working quite right, that's great. Let us know, but it's not a fire drill. We're not expecting, this is the web. This is building creative stuff on the internet. So there are some things that will go like, oh yeah, that doesn't work yet. We will work on it, or it's on our time frame, or we're going to do this or do that. But these are really intended for convenience, to make it easy for us to push out content to you guys that you can easily drop on a page. So we've put the ones on there that we think are most useful right now, and I've referenced those. And if we used them on the site, definitely feel free to use them on additional pages on the site. And then in the future, we'll let you know, like, hey, we've got a new snippet. We've got something else that we've pushed out that you can use. So that's that. So let's see. So I think we have covered all of these core topics. We even poked a little bit into some of the advanced topics of adding tracking codes and scripts, which I'm telling you we're probably going to do a lot with after we get through the launch period, because we know there's some advanced stuff that we could definitely be doing by adding some scripts and some embedded tools and things like that onto the websites. Some pretty cool stuff coming. So let's do a little bit of frequently asked questions. So again, first one, what is my new website URL? Okay, temporarily, first-last.century21canada.ca. Then first-last.c21.ca. That will be your final marketing URL for your website. Team and group websites. We've got some of you on here who are running teams, groups, or you have an agent corporation. Those are currently being set up. There's some manual configuration we're having to do, as well as some data cleanup, because the data that was in WTL for teams and groups was not so clean and was organized in a way that was a little difficult to work with. So that's getting cleaned up, and we'll let you know when they're ready. We do have a team website design that's a default design. It's very similar to the agent websites, a little different, but similar in terms of pre-built content that's available, and you'll be able to go in and customize it. We will push out information about that as soon as we have it. It's something that's being worked on right now. So I'd love to tell you it's tomorrow or it's Monday, but it's being worked on right now. So where is the content for my current website? Another popular question. So we have set up an archive site. So if you go to archive.century21.ca, first of all, your current site is still up right now. So you can just go to century21.ca today and still work with it. But we've also archived a version of it in this website right here. And this works the same. So if you have, if you know it's, what your website address is currently, you could just do / and put the rest of your website URL for that. It will also it does kind of a semi-search autocomplete here. So I just put in Brad, so I can say, okay, this is Brad Gabriel's website. So I can go pull this up, and there it is. So this is so there's an archive of the old site that is available through the archive webpage. So go to archive.century21.ca. There is a search on the homepage. I think we were fussing with it yesterday. Let me see if it's working yet. Yeah, there we go. So it's now working. So you can now search for, if you want to search for your content. So I just search for Bill. It's showing me every Bill's website in the system and all the content. So you can go find your content using the reconfigured search on the archive site homepage. So if you do need to look up your content from the old site, once we moved over, and this archive site will stay up for at least a year. We're going to just leave it up, and that way you can have easy access to your old content if you need to copy anything else over. The listings are not going to be up to date. Anything that's coming off the MLS, we can't keep it up to date here. But all of the content, blog articles, things like that you put in the system we'll be here. So that's how that works. What about SEO? So I gave you a few tips on SEO today. There's actually a pretty strong, we have a pretty strong recorded webinar on SEO in our resources library, I believe.
We sure do.
Sure do. So there is, so in the resources library, if you do a search for SEO, there's a nice webinar in there that talks about all the things you need to do for SEO. So the point of today was not to try to do SEO training and website training and migration training and all of that. So if you want to get deep on SEO, there's a nice recording for you. My listings aren't showing up yet. Don't panic. We know there's a bunch of listings that we're still mapping over. So some of you have them, some of you don't. That it's just the nature of us migrating on this new platform. Some of the MLSs gave us a feed for development. Now we have to get their production feed, and so there's some work required to get the final site all mapped and ready to go. So don't panic. It's being worked on. What photos can I use? Great question. So first of all, if you use the photos out of the content library that we provided, so this image and video library, these are licensed for Century 21 Canada affiliates, and so you can use them. So we've paid good money to allow all of our agents to be able to use them. Otherwise, they either need to be your own photos that you have taken and you have license over, or they need to be photos, if they're professional photography, you need to have purchased the photography or the rights to use the photography. So if you use a site like iStock Photo or one of these purchase sites, one of my favorite, I use Unsplash a lot, which is free, royalty-free licenses. So you can use photo content look for royalty-free photos. Those are fair to use. Sometimes they ask for attribution. They may say, hey, can you give us a link or put who the photographer took the photo is. That's a nice thing to do. It's a good thing to do. Do not copy random photos off the internet and use them on your website, because guess who they call when you guys do that? They call me. and then I call you, or somebody, the head office team calls you and says, hey, you got to take that down. So do not use just photos that you like because you found them in a Google image search. Please, please, please. So either take them yourself, pay a photographer to take them, and make sure you're getting license rights to use them. Buy them from a photography store online that gives you the rights to use them when you buy them. Or use royalty-free, the keyword's royalty-free photo stock. And those are all fair game, but don't just grab photos up online. So thank you. Whoever added that frequently asked question, that's like my favorite frequently asked question. So
that was me, Jack.
Thank you, Chloe. Thank you, Chloe. I didn't even think about that one, but that's very important. So that's that. So guys, we've run to the end of this piece. So just as a reminder, this is your Century 21. The address will be first-last century21.ca. Do not use century21canada.ca in your marketing materials. Use c21.ca. That's what you should use. First-last name at or .c21.ca. That's this right here. And you're good to go. So let's talk a little bit about how the domains are going to work if you are using a custom domain, or how things are going to remap as we do the launch. So your current Century 21, so your current century21.ca website, century21.ca / Brad.Miller, right? So when we go live, it will automatically be redirected to the new site, which will be brad-miller.c21.ca. It'll automatically happen. You don't have to do anything. Now, if you registered a custom domain name and pointed it at your website, don't panic. It will work. It will just involve 2 redirects. You don't have to do anything. So your custom domain name will point at the old website address, and then the old website address will point to the new website address. So it'll go boom, boom. So the consumer's experience will be they put in your domain name, and then they'll see a little flash as it refreshes and gets to the new website. You will, after we launch, want to go update your domain to point at the final domain address so that you're not doing 2 redirects, you're just doing 1. That's better. 1 redirect, way better. And then we may have some tricks up our sleeve for some hosting options for you guys that have custom domain names. And we'll talk about those after we get to the launch. So that's just how that works. We know that's a frequently asked question, so I included it in there. So Reporting bugs, I did this yesterday. It's just a reminder, if you do have bugs to report, if there are problems, I found one today, and we will find them. This is a new system. It's too big, and it's got too many moving parts not to have bugs. So be specific, explain how you caused the bug to happen, and show what happened. Here's what happened versus what you thought was going to happen. That's helpful. Some bugs are education. Some people, it's supposed to work that way. Here's how to get. You're trying to do this other thing. Go over here and do this other thing. So so it's helpful to know what you were trying to get done, because there might be another way to get it done besides the way that you tried. These are bad, better, and best bug reports. So the ones on the left column, these are bad. You say this doesn't work. WTL worked different. Why is this broken? Those are all not good. Better is, here's a description of what I was trying to do. I tried to create a navigation item, could not make it work. When I entered text on the page, it didn't look right. And then best is, here's what I tried to do. Here's the result I got that was different from what I expected. This says, this one's better. It says when I entered text on the page, it didn't look right. When I entered text on the page, it was aligned right, even though I selected align left. So that tells any software person, or we at head office can look at this and say, okay, we know what you tried to do and we know the result you got, and then it's easier to fix. So that's just help us out with bug reports. That will be super helpful. Bring your first lines of support, the CORE21 assistant, see if the steps for what you want to do are in the assistant. The next line of support is your concierge, your local management, your office, to help you with these kinds of questions. They also have access to a support channel for them. So if it's something that they have many agents asking the same question, they can go get support directly from real estate webmasters, and real estate webmasters available to answer the concierge's questions and make sure they get back to you and can get that resolved. So those are your lines of support specific to website questions. There is a Facebook group, which is essentially C21 RU Facebook group. You can post in the sales Facebook group, but it's probably going to get too noisy in there. So probably this CORE21 Facebook group or Real Estate Webmasters Facebook group is going to be better. But I would go to your concierge first, because your concierge may just tell you, here's what you need to do. So those are your lines of support for this product. All right, so that's a whole lot of me talking. We've got about 10 minutes left. Do we have some questions? I'm sure we do. I know you guys have been answering them as we've been going along.
We've had about 73 answered questions, and I've got quite a few more.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out where we want to start, to be fully honest. So I guess we'll start at the top. So Mary Vandenbroek, so she's basically asking to see if we have a checklist of screens for print off, basically what you're going over in this webinar. And Mary, I guess to kind of answer that, I would say make sure that you're popping into the concierge program. We did have a webinar on the content builder, and then with that, we've got a checklist as one of the resources to go through exactly what it is would be smart to go through for your agents when you're training on the new platform. So I would say pop into the resource center. Under Canvas 21, there's a C21 concierge program modules. I think module number 3, if I'm remembering correctly, someone can correct me if I'm wrong, is for content. So there's checklists there available for you too.
And I'll just pop in here, Josh, as well. Susie and I have chatted. We're going to be adding some more options into the C21 Assistant tasks. So anybody who really likes checking things off lists, you're going to have things in your tasks window there. And we're looking at pulling into a printable checklist that's just targeted at agents that we can add to the resource center as well. So. Yeah,
and just so everybody can see, this is the tasks in here that they're talking about. So the assistant does keep track of things that you've done. Here, it will track that, and we're going to add some things in there to help you with the process.
Cool. Lisa is asking, why are there 2 places to input social media links? There's one under preferences and there's one under settings.
Just put them in both.
Yeah.
Just put them in both. The national website runs more off of the preferences. The settings runs more for your local website. So put them in both.
Perfect. I have another question. So I have an account with REW for a website, so an autonomous site. So should I keep this separate, or should I have this one separate?
I would keep. You got 2 websites, so that's awesome. So I would keep both of them unless you don't want your autonomous one or it's not working for you in some way. But yeah, I'd keep both.
We have another one. So for the custom domain field, we have an agent who has a couple of their domains. They're able to include one in there. Is there another way that we can add several domains, or is that simply just the one way?
No, because the website, if we give you guys the ability to have the website work with one domain, works with one domain. So you can point other domains at it, but it will work. It will, when we enable some features in the future, it will represent itself as one domain. It can't represent itself as two.
Perfect. And this one's about tracking codes. So Google is saying for tracking codes for remarketing that we want to include them on every page. Do we include that just the code snippet onto the settings page, or do we want to include
the setting page is on sets every page on the website with the same code. So if you make a change there, it's on every page on the site.
We have a quick request for another demo, Lisa, which I'll get back to, but I'm just going to skip over that for a second. George is asking, is there a way that we can change the font style within the content builder?
The fonts are the Century 21 web compatible fonts that are for the site. So we want to stay within the brand styling is my understanding. I'm actually not a huge font guy, but I think that's why there's only one font style.
Yeah, so it's basically been simplified in this one, so we don't really want you to worry too much about it as a brand compliant font. If you are interested in changing your fonts, you would have to work in that HTML coding to get that changed.
Yeah.
Same idea goes for font colors. Again, if you're not too familiar with HTML, I wouldn't recommend going in and playing in it just yet. I am hoping to have some basic HTML videos available at some point, but we're looking to get through launch to kind of get everything situated first.
You're the man, Josh.
I try. So for autoresponders is another one. And Jack, I might need some clarification on this because from my understanding, it's only corporate that's able to customize these, correct?
Yeah, the autoresponders right now, it's a good question. The autoresponders right now are set up by corporate. We don't have them configurable at the agent level today. That's probably going to be something we want to change. Just because I think that was an oversight in the way the autoresponder stuff got built. So we'll edit them for now, but I think we're gonna end up asking for that to be propagated down to the agent level.
Perfect. I'm just looking to see if there's one. If we are a member of a team, will we have access to a team website?
Yeah, asked and answered earlier in the frequently asked questions. We're still putting together the team websites because the team data that came across is not very clean. So you'll be notified when the team websites are available. There's about 225 teams, something like that. So there's a little bit of work there for team websites.
Perfect. I'm going to answer a couple questions via text, but Jack, if you're able to demo something super quick, or do we want to redirect back to the videos? Okay. Lisa is asking if we can demo adding a link to an image in the content page. So basically embedding an image and linking it out to either an external site or within your site.
Yeah, let's try to go do that. Let's go to content. I don't know why all right, there you go. I had to move the Q. You guys couldn't see, but the Q&A box was like blocking the questions box was blocking my whole screen. So let's upload an image. Oh, these are going to be huge images. Let's do this right here. This will work. It's a small one. There we go. Okay, close, insert. That's 800 by 600, so let's go 400 by 300. There we go. All right, there's that. All right, so now if I've got the image, you select it and you add a link. You can also check the source code to make sure that looks right. Yeah, looks right. All right, let's save it. Then let's go to the thing. so I added this. It's linked to Google. There's some other things you could do with that, like pick on that. I could say open in a new window. Okay, now it opens in a new window. So that's how to do that. Hope that helps, Lisa. I know you guys work hard over there. So, but yeah, you can link out to you can link to another page on the website. You can do all kinds of stuff like that if you want. It's pretty straightforward.
Love it. I've got one here, and basically it's just essentially asking for the different templates. So when they're switching over to the cover page template, they're noticing that the agent details at the top of the page disappear. That is just how the templates work. The agent homepage is the only one that
it's just different. Yeah, it's just different. The cover page versus the agent homepage they're just stylistically different. We may play. I mean, that's another area where as we move into the system and we get feedback and we get marketing, besides do some new designs, we could have some more templates in there because now we have a platform where we can add them in there over time. We just wanted to give you guys a good set to start from, and we can do more with this over time.
Perfect. I'm just going to answer a couple more questions via text. My current site is directed to a custom domain. Will the new site automatically do this to that domain as well? So he's basically that doesn't make sense. So Murray, I might need some additional clarification for here. So when you go to your URL that you've purchased, is it redirecting to your Century21.ca site? Is that what I'm reading here?
All right.
I guess we'll wait to hear back from him.
Yeah.
Doug Lytle, is there a way to display a single featured property, have it rotate instead of showing 3 at a time?
Just pick one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in that little selector, you would have selected listings. Just check the one box.
Tools, just pick one. So if you go here, you don't have to pick 3. You could just say, I just want one.
Perfect. I've got a few in here that don't quite relate to the Marketing Center. So for those of you who are asking questions that are referring to the Marketing Center or listings, we will discuss these at a later date. We haven't quite had those webinars scheduled, so I'm just going to stick with the one specific to the website builder, if that's okay. Yep. Just as a general statement, for those of you who are asking these questions, feel free to reach out to your FSA. We will have some answers for you there as well.
Hey Josh, I just did a little background research from Murray's question, and he's got a third-party URL that redirects into Century21.ca, it looks like. So he'll need to reset up that redirect. But
yeah, later. It'll work through. I mean, that's this diagram right here, where if you have a third-party website, it'll redirect. It'll get to the new websites, but it'll just go through 2 hops to get there. When we migrate, he'll want to change his domain name redirect to go to directly to the new site, so it's only 1 hop and not 2. But it'll still work. It's just cleaner.
Actually, I lied a little bit. It looks actually like an iframe. What would happen if you had Century21.ca iframed into a website?
I believe the redirect will work through the iframe, but shouldn't be iframing this site anyway. I know that's how some of those. I know how some of the domain name companies do that, where they say they use an iframe to keep the thing up top. We're hopefully going to eliminate that need when we allow. That's why we have that custom domain name part configuration in this site, because then we'll be able to natively host this domain. So, but we're not going to turn that on at launch. So it'll work. It'll work fine. Long term, it's not best practice because you don't get the SEO benefit of it. So, but yeah,
cool.
It'll work.
I think the balance of the questions don't have too much to do with the website builder. To be fully honest, I'm not sure if we want to just take those ones offline and then we'll reach back out to these.
Yeah, I'm seeing a bunch of questions about listings, which I've attempted to address to say, if they're not there.
Yeah.
Like we're still making sure everybody's MLS listings are getting mapped over properly. So.
Yeah, there's a few in there about marketing and e-letters. So again, John, that's going to be in another training webinar. So
yeah, some of that we're going to cover some of that tomorrow in the marketing CRM. It'll be CRM and CRM marketing and action plans and things like that.
Yeah. I would say for the questions that we haven't quite answered, reach out to a member of management. They can reach out to our FSA, and then we can get an answer for you. For those that know who your FSA is, again, if we haven't answered your question pertaining to stuff that's not the content builder, again, just reach out to your FSA and we'll get an answer for you as soon as possible.
There you go.
Cool.
Great. Awesome.
I think that's it.
All right. Have a great day, everyone.
Awesome.
Great.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Very nice.